Yo, what's going on, guys? Schwerfnack and I'm back with another video. So today will be my final rankings of the SEC. It will be the SEC coaches rankings. We are coming to an end of the 2 weeks of the SEC. Tomorrow will be the last day, and I will be doing 3 team schedule previews back to back to back. I'm just going to be working really hard tomorrow to try to get this done before I head on vacation on Sunday morning. So this is the last rankings list we've done. 10 most important games, ranking the teams, ranking the quarterbacks, and I believe that is it. But without further ado, let's get into this SEC coaches rankings. So coming in at number 14 is the Arkansas coach. The worst coach is on the worst team. Chad Morris, I didn't have much on him. I hadn't heard much about him until he was hired by the Arkansas Razorbacks. He went 2-10 in his first season, and that's all really I know about him, so I can't really put him much higher than number 14 on this list because he has not proven that he can win. I mean, 2 wins, 10 losses is horrendous, and hopefully he gets better, but right now I cannot put him any higher than number 14, unfortunately, for Arkansas. So coming in at 13 is the Vanderbilt coach, Derek Mason. He's been at Vanderbilt for actually a little while. He hasn't done much. He's provided some success for Vanderbilt, but nothing too special. I mean, with the program not being invested in the slightest, what else can he do? 6-6 and 7-5 is kind of the ceiling for this Vanderbilt team. Most of the time, they're just going 4-8, 5-7, missing out on bowl games. I don't even think that's mostly Derek Mason's fault. Obviously, I don't think he's a fabulous coach, or I'd be putting him a lot higher on this list. But I can't put him anywhere higher than 13 because I don't have the data to back it up. So unfortunately, Derek Mason lands himself pretty down low on this list. Coming in at number 12 is Joe Moorhead. A lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. I'm just not a huge believer in Joe Moorhead. He was a good offensive coordinator at Penn State, I believe, but this is a head coach rankings, and he just hasn't had the wins to back it up. He was okay in his first season at Mississippi State, but then again, you could have put a rock in at head coach, and they would have been very good with that defense. They were automatically at least going to go 6-6, and he had a decent quarterback in Nick Fitzgerald that Dan Mullen had done all the work to. That was basically Dan Mullen's team that happened to be coached by Joe Moorhead. That wasn't Joe Moorhead's team. So I think we're going to get a lot more data on Joe Moorhead as a head coach coming up in the next season, and I'm just not a big believer in him as a coach. So Mississippi State fans, please do not get mad because I'm putting Joe Moorhead here at number 12, which is not very good compared to what everybody else has him ranked. So coming in at number 11 is Matt Luke from Mississippi State to Ole Miss. A lot of Mississippi State fans, I feel like, are going to be mad at me because, one, I wouldn't say mad at me. That makes me sound like a little 3-year-old. Upset with me, I'll say that. Because I had Ole Miss beating Mississippi State this year, and I genuinely think that Ole Miss is in a better spot than Mississippi State right now, and I think that starts with the coach, Matt Luke. Is he anything special? No. He's a decent SEC coach. He can get you some wins. Is he going to take you to the promised land? I don't think so. But Ole Miss doesn't have to go to the promised land. That's not their goal. They're not really a football school. They can invest, but they're not really in the place yet. So I feel like Matt Luke is the perfect position for them because as long as he's there, they're always going to be decent. Nobody's going to lose their jobs or anything like that. And I think Matt Luke just provides stability. Is that even stability? Maybe, I don't know. I'm tired. But I think he provides stability for the Ole Miss program, which I think is their top priority at this particular time. So Barry Odom barely cracks the top 10. The Missouri coach, a lot of people are extremely high on Barry Odom. I've seen some people rank him at 5 or 6. I don't think he's that good of a coach. I think he's a good coach, just not a great coach. And there's so many good coaches in the SEC. I can't really put him any higher than 10. But he has provided some success for the Missouri team. He can recruit well. He's just a good, well-rounded coach that you want coaching your football team. Will he take Missouri to the promised land? He's going to need a lot of breaks to do it. But, he provides a lot of wins for Missouri. Their fans love him. And why would you not? He's a good coach. He's just not great. And there's so many great coaches in the SEC that, unfortunately, I cannot put him any higher than 10. That is not a knock on Barry Odom. That is a compliment to the rest of the SEC. So coming in at number 9 is Will Muschamp. So in his time at South Carolina, I think he deserves to be number 7 or 6, and maybe in even his time at Auburn, but I cannot forgive his horrendous time at Florida. He could recruit well. That was a good side. But whenever he got out on the football field, he couldn't coach for anything. He was equivalent to grass. That's what a salad. He could coach. I think a wall could coach better than Will Muschamp. He was awful. Now, granted, was he ready to be a head coach? No. But I can't look over the fact that he was so horrendous out on the field coaching with Florida, and he still has his flaws, like that comeback for Florida last year. A great coach wouldn't allow that, but Will Muschamp did. Will Muschamp has a lot of improvement still. I feel like he's ever evolving, ever changing, ever developing, and I don't think he'll ever reach his true potential, but he's a decent coach, and I think he deserves the number 9 spot. Coming in at number 8, I'm a lot higher on Jeremy Pruitt and just Tennessee as a program as a whole than a lot of other people. I think Jeremy Pruitt is a very solid coach. Now, as a defensive coordinator, he was great. He deserves to be 4-3 on this list. He doesn't quite have the numbers in his time at Tennessee as a head coach to prove that he deserves to be any higher than number 8 on this list. Most people have him around 10 or 11. I put him up a little bit higher. I value him high. He's an excellent recruiter, a great coach. He's a fabulous defensive coach. I find it hilarious how he always says offensive coordinators are overrated. I saw a quote from him that one time. He's just such a defense lover. Who needs offense? Defense wins championships. You can win 2-0 every game. Jeremy Pruitt's fun. I like him. I like the guy. I like the coach. I think he's a good coach, and I think he'll take Tennessee in the right direction heading forward. Probably the most controversial positioning on this list, it's Ed O coming in at number 7, Ed Orgeron. A lot of people like Ed Orgeron, especially the media. A lot of people have Ed Orgeron in their list ranked at kind of the 3, 4, and 5 spot. I have him at number 7. I've said on multiple occasions he's a solid to decent coach. And at LSU, that's not going to cut it. At Mississippi State, Ole Miss, yeah, he'd be a great coach for those teams. But LSU, he's just not living up to the LSU name. He's not what LSU needs, a coach. They need a stellar coach to be able to compete with Alabama. He's not that guy. He's had opportunities. He's had the players to do it, and he has not done it. So the question arises, will he ever do it? I don't think so. He's a solid to good coach, but he is not worthy of a top 5 spot here with some of the most elite coaches in the entire world. Coming in number 6 is the most overrated coach in the history of college football. You heard it right now. Gus Malzahn is overrated. Auburn is good once every 4 years. He cannot recruit on par with Alabama, and you have to be the Auburn coach. He does not deserve to be the Auburn coach. He is an okay on-field coach and an okay recruiter. He is Ed Orgeron. He is okay. He is solid. Not worthy of the Auburn name. If you want to be a coach at Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, some of those mediocre schools, go ahead. You'd fit perfectly. But at Auburn, and they want you to compete with Alabama every year, he can only compete once every 4 years. Only 25% of his time is Auburn actually where they're supposed to be. So he is overrated and does not deserve being in top 5 on my list. He is a good coach. That's why he is able to get in at number 6, just a little bit over Edo. Coming in at number 5 is Mark Stoops. So I know what some people are going to say. Well, he doesn't have the wins to prove it. He doesn't have the record. Ed Orgeron has the record. Gus Malzahn has the record to prove it. They might not have the big wins, but they have a better record than Mark Stoops. Why would you have Mark Stoops here? He's not worthy. But here's the deal. Gus Malzahn, Ed Orgeron, they get everything they want. I want this recruit. Oh, yeah, we got it. We will do everything we can to suit you. Kentucky is a basketball school that happens to have football. They bring in Mark Stoops, and he does the impossible. He makes Kentucky a serious contender in the SEC. If they would have beaten Georgia, they would have been in the SEC championship game. They nearly made a New Year's Six bowl. They barely missed out on a bunch of elite opportunities. They're right on the brink of good to elite. I think they will dip because they just lost a bunch of talent But Mark Stoops is a great coach and recruiter, and I think he is well deserving of this top 5 spot. So Georgia fans, please do not get mad at me that I do not have your Lord and Savior Kirby Smart higher than number 4 on this list. Please don't go down in the comments whipping up your hands on the keyboard, ready to say, "Oh, a classic Florida fans. They think Dan Mullen's the best." Hashtag between the hedges. Just relax. There's a small gap between 2, 3, and 4. Insanely small. Kirby could have easily been number 2 on this list, but I'm putting him at number 4. Here's why. He is a great recruiter. Coaching is decent, but there's one serious flaw. He cannot game manage worth anything. That is his one flaw, and that is a very serious flaw of Kirby Smart. That's why he is not up there around Nick Saban. He can recruit on par with Nick Saban. He can game plan on par with Nick Saban. He cannot game manage on par with Nick Saban or even Jimbo Fisher, Dan Mullen, the 3 coaches left that I believe are better than him. But Kirby Smart is a fabulous recruiter and a fabulous coach. Georgia is so lucky to have him, and Kirby Smart has made Georgia a superpower in the SEC. If he gets game managing down, he can compete with any coach in the country or any coach in the world for that matter. Now, and coming at number 3 is Dan Mullen himself. I love Dan Mullen. He's my favorite coach since Urban Meyer. I didn't even like Urban Meyer. I still have a grudge against Urban Meyer. He's my favorite coach since Steve Spurrier. I love the way he trash talks Georgia. He's not afraid to speak his mind. I know that rubs some people the wrong way, and I get it. But, I mean, we're facing Georgia. Maybe we lose and have to eat crow. Maybe we win and we're able to talk the talk and walk the walk. But I mean, for right now, he's just having fun. He probably plugged in what Steve Spurrier did because he wants to bring back the nostalgia and the excitement. And what better way to do that than to trash talk our most hated rival, Georgia? So it's just, I don't mind it. I get why some people would mind it. I get it, but I just love Dan Mullen. But back onto the coaching matter. He cannot recruit up here with some elite coaches like Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban, and Kirby Smart. He cannot recruit on par with them. But what he can do is get quantity over quality, develop it into quality, and end up with just as good a roster as any other of those guys. Is the Florida roster as good as Georgia and Alabama? No. Will it be as good as Georgia and Alabama in a year or 2? Yes, because Dan Mullen can develop on par or better than any other coach I have ever seen. He is exceptional at developing. He is a great game planner. He finds what you are good at and uses that to your full potential. Every single coach or player that plays for Dan Mullen ends up reaching their full potential. That is why Dan Mullen is a fabulous coach and comes in at number 3. So coming in at number 2 is Jimbo Fisher. Now, if you're just counting what he does as Texas A&M, he does not deserve to be this high on the list. 9-4 in his first year is good, not good enough. But everybody knows how good he is. Everybody knows how well-rounded he is. How good he's great at everything. Everybody knows what he did at Florida State, bringing a national championship to that program and a playoff berth. Jimbo Fisher's just an amazing, well-rounded coach. He has no weaknesses. Now, is he as good as Nick Saban? No. He's not as good at... Nick Saban's just better than him. Now, is that a knock on Jimbo Fisher? Absolutely not. I love Jimbo Fisher. He is a fabulous coach. He is well-rounded in everything. He's great in everything. Nick Saban is the best at everything. That's why Nick Saban's better than Jimbo Fisher. But Jimbo Fisher can provide everything Texas A&M needs to be a powerhouse, and I believe they will be a powerhouse for this year and many years to come. So coming in at number 1 is the best college football coach to ever live, Nick Saban. He has built an unstoppable dynasty here at Alabama. It's not perfect. It has some defeats, but it takes those defeats and turns them into W's. That's why they have been so dominant over the past couple of years. He demands success and demands it consistently. Once they're on top, he doesn't use that as an excuse to go down. He uses that as motivation to stay there. He has been number 1 in the past, I believe, every single year since his second year. Not 8 out of 9, not 7 out of 8, none of that. Every single year at one point he has been number 1. That's why he is so good. He is a great developer, recruiter, game planner, insane adjuster, motivator. It's hilarious whenever he gets up there and disses all the reporters. He's the only coach that can get away with that because he is so darn good. Nick Saban is fabulous. He's the best college football coach to ever live, mark my words. I love Nick Saban. A lot of people don't like him because he wins. It's kind of the Bill Belichick situation. I think he's more likable than Bill Belichick. I think he has a personality whenever he disses the media. I think he partly does that intentionally because he knows that that's kind of become a part of his brand. His brand consists of two things: dissing the media and winning a championship every other year. If you can find a coach that can win a championship as consistently as Nick Saban, and whenever they go 11-1 is considered a terrible down year, I will show you an alien. So Nick Saban is the best coach in college football now and forever. So I hope you guys enjoyed the last SEC rankings for the 2019 season. Gets rolling. These have been so fun to do. And just take a step back and enjoy the fact that you guys are on summer. If you guys are adults and you guys have to work, that's unfortunate. If you're out of school right now and you're kind of a teenager, just enjoy it. Soak it up. The fact that you can just relax and listen to a football nerd act like his opinions matter. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Having a fabulous day, and peace.